Now in its 10th year, this is GabNet. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey, everybody, live from Harlem in New York City. It's me, I'm Alex, and this is the Ramble. Oh, there she is.
Hola.
Lori Thompson, in case you forget, her name is right under her picture.
That's so helpful.
Yes.
Sometimes I tire on, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Remember.
I'd say, what's the weather like? And you'd say the same as it was last week.
Well, no, it fluctuates. See, being in the Panhandle, Miami, you got your heat and sunshine almost all the time.
By the way,
And
can I tell you a quick story? I mean,
Yeah.
Then we can go on with that. There's this woman who got a hold of me, and they're doing a movie on the public access in New York, a documentary.
Yeah, because you
public-
did the show Midnight Blue.
Yeah, of
Right.
course I did Midnight Blue for public
Mhm.
access. And they got a hold of me, and they wanted to talk to me about it, and they found me engaging, and of course I am. And and
Never.
they want to use me in the film, and maybe even do some kind of consulting, for it. And the
Fun.
producer is Steve Buscemi.
Hmm.
Yeah, and so I'm going to. They wanted to have lunch with me, but she said, "I seem to remember that you said that in wintertime you go down to Florida," and I think that's a misconception that all Jews go to Florida for the winter.
And all Midwestern.
This Jew ain't getting anywhere near Florida. You know I hate Florida, right?
Right.
So I wrote her back and I said, "Florida? Never." I said, "But that's
Not me.
another story." I said, "Sure,
Yeah.
I'll have lunch with you." But, I was so outraged, that she thought that I lived in Florida during the winter.
Yeah, well, that's why I was hesitant to tell people I take cruises, because to me it was old people playing shuffleboard.
That's what it sounds
And-
like to me. And by the way,
You know-
I hate to say this, but you're what, 62 now?
63, you're being generous.
63. I'm about ready to hit 84.
baby.
But you're, in fact, by the time this plays, maybe I already have hit 84. Anyway.
Because you have the same birthday as my daddy.
Huh? Really?
You have the same birthday as my dad.
Yeah.
And my phone number is that birthday. 'Cause
Oh, really? 12,
Yeah,
18?
Yeah, that's the last four digits of my phone number.
Wow. I
Yeah.
wish I could get that. Anyway, so where was I?
You're just talking about cruises in
Cru-
Florida.
Oh, cruises in Florida
And
and
elderly
cruises.
stereotypes.
And I just so I don't want to get anywhere near Florida if I don't have to.
Well,
I would love to come visit you, but it's too close to Miami.
Yeah, because we have a guest room, but it is.
Are the people
Florida.
where you live up above? Because in a state, there can be a whole different sense of culture and propriety and so on and so forth.
Yes, very much.
I hope that you're living in a better place in Miami for that kind of
Oh,
thing.
much. It's a little town. It's a tiny town, and I didn't want to live in a town with Fort in their name. So we found a little boutique town. It's got about 17,000 people, and it's close to those big Panhandle towns. But it's not of that. You don't get that idea when you're in it. I mean, you're 15 minutes max from everything. People are friendly. It's a small town. It reminds me of the Midwest a little bit, except it's warmer. Yeah, and so you have to look for what you want. Just don't go to Florida blind and buy a house. And we like our house. It's people always aggrandize their houses. Ours is really cool. We like it. We can walk our kayak to the water, and just it's perfect for us. It's 2 stories, and I've thought twice about that. But I was raised in 2-story homes. I'm always more comfortable in 2-story homes. You don't have to hit the stairmaster. You live in a 2-story home. See, you
Yeah.
get your exercise.
Well, we had a pen what is it? What's the one everybody's getting with the cycle that has a trainer's
Oh, Peloton.
Peloton? We had a Peloton here. Marjorie
They're
bought a
Pelotons.
Peloton.
She did. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Now they're Peloton celebrities, people that are writing memoirs.
Well, can I
Yeah.
say first of all, I did ride the Peloton. Not often, but I rode it. And the reason I
Yeah.
didn't ride it a lot was it hurt my ass.
Yeah, maybe you needed a cushion or a different seat.
They kept
You,
saying, "Oh, here's a seat." Nothing worked, you know.
no.
Plus,
See,
when I used to have a bike, and I used to have one in the marina, I used to get on the bike. I used to drive out the bike out to Fort Point, come back as I'm going. Oh, hey, that's nice over there. That's nice over there. Oh,
yeah.
look at the scenery. When you're on a bike, stationary bike, right?
Hmm.
None of that.
It
Except
is
except on the Peloton, this is true. They have these various courses you can go on. So
right, meaning,
they take photographs or take movies of going somewhere on a bike.
yeah,
And so you
can
do that
compare,
for about 20 minutes and you're fine.
but
The
you can do
one the
country
one I always
square.
had on was the same exact course I took out to Fort Point every day. They had one going out to Fort Point, so I did that one. What the hell,
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because I didn't think about that because I'm anti any equipment, large equipment that sits in my house. To me, it's just if you use it and you do for a while, but then it just sits there as a big beacon of
Well,
your failure.
the end story of this is after spending what $2,500 on this thing,
They're not cheap. They're not like a yoga mat.
about 6 months later, Marjorie sold the damn thing.
Yes, that happens. That's
Only got about
exactly.
1,200 for it, but what the hell? It wasn't
But
in
your
the house
curiosity,
anymore.
yeah, it's like it satisfied your interest, and you found out that it was okay, but then got a little bit of your money back. That's the way to do it.
Well, this was
And
also during COVID. So,
oh,
that was the only way
yeah,
some people could. Peloton did great during COVID,
oh yeah, they
and
sure
then they
did. So
almost
did
went
Zoom.
out of business when it was over.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah, and people, the business
you know,
people
you,
buy on
you know
that.
why they
That
almost went bankrupt?
mm-mm.
What happened is during COVID, they got this just huge influx of business.
Yeah,
So they went out and bought all the stuff they needed to make the bikes, and they overbought
yes,
because they were buying when there was COVID. They weren't
hmm,
buying when there wasn't COVID. And so they
right.
had this inventory that, was just choking them.
That's why it takes an astute business executive to go, this is a fluke. But we didn't know with COVID. I mean, I'm not defending their decision, but with COVID, it was like it could end. There could be a vaccine next week or in 5 years. Maybe it's the plague. I mean, I think a lot of people thought this could be our version of the plague. With
Did I tell you how I dodged a bullet? I was having my prostate worked on. First,
massaged.
first with what do you call it? With radiation,
Right.
which was a lot of fun. I enjoyed the radiation. It's just,
You get to read a lot of new magazines.
no, this thing moves around, and it's like you're in a room all alone with it while they're moving it around and so on. And
Really?
it becomes your pal. You're lying there, and every now and then, the thing will come around, and the eye is looking right at you, and you go, "Hi, how you doing? Had a nice day?" I mean, that was fun. It was like a little. It was, but then the other part of it was me getting the seeds implanted in my prostate.
I've heard there's a lot of success with that.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
So far, I'm a success story. But I didn't.
Now,
I didn't have bad prostate cancer. I kind of had.
right.
What they did is they were cutting it off at the pass. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Now, can you feel the seeds?
but
Can you
what?
can you feel the seeds?
No, oh no, no.
No, you can't feel
They put about 100 of them in there, and they're all radiation. I said, is there anything I shouldn't do? He said, well, don't put babies or pregnant ladies on your lap.
really.
Of course. You're irradiated. I mean, if you brought a Geiger counter over to my house, you could, yeah, hey. But they and the seeds then die after about 3 months, and I still have the seeds in my prostate, but they're not active at all.
They're
But
on,
anyway, so they had to do the prostate seed implantation. Okay.
Yeah.
So I go to the hospital, and this is Mount Sinai, and I get all the gear on, everything I'm supposed to get on to get ready for this thing, you know.
your
And
surgery battle
the
suit.
woman asked me a whole bunch of questions, you know, and there's a whole thing, and there's a whole setup before you go into the operating room. Basically, the stuff they were doing basically said to me, please don't sue us. You know, they're doing all this stuff just to make sure they're not getting sued. And I'm waiting for the doctor to go up to the operating room. And they say, the doctor's coming down. He wants to talk to you. And he comes down and he said, we're not going to be able to do it today. I said, why? He said, well, there's just one piece of equipment I need that I ordered, and they didn't go and buy. And what it is, do you know where the taint is?
What-
That's a place
yes.
between your genitals and your ass, and a taint genital and taint ass. That's, I guess,
Right.
the name. And it's a little metal thing he puts in there so that he can guide the needles in. And they forgot to
Really?
order one. This is the
It's like a
biggest,
taint
Mount
compass.
Sinai, the biggest hospital in America, practically. The most well-known hospital in America. And they forget. And I said, well, that's a pain in the ass. He says, you think it is? He says, I'm pissed. He says, I got to really yell at them after we're through here.
Right? Can't you get those on
Well,
Amazon?
we'll call you on
Or-
Monday and we'll make another appointment. So they call me Monday, they make another appointment. It's like later that week. Later that week, I go in, I get the whole thing done, you know. And that's a whole long story, too, that I'm not going to go into. But because they killed me. They couldn't put me out because they said, you're too old, we don't want to put you out. We don't want to take, but we can give you a spinal. Now, I never had anything like that, but it's not a problem. Spinals aren't any big deal.
They're not the big
only
deal,
problem
is
is after I was through with the seed implantation, they take me down to recovery, and I can't feel anything below my waist.
That's
And it
alarming.
took 3 hours for it to wear off. And I felt like I have a friend who is a paraplegic, and I know what it's like to be him. I mean, just the idea that nothing below you works, below your
Well,
midsection works.
you can tell it all
Yeah.
you want. and
But
it's not gonna
anyway,
work.
the story I was trying to get to here is in reference to COVID. 1 week later, COVID hit full force. They started enforcing all the rules, and the hospital said no surgery that isn't completely, utterly necessary. And, this was elective surgery. This wasn't regular surgery, right?
Right. You got it under
If
the
I
wire.
had waited 1 week, or that, or they didn't wait, they waited for 2 weeks to get me in there, I would have never been able to get it till after COVID. And by then,
Yeah.
the cancer could have spread.
Yeah. So I mean, and there are so many instances like that in our lives.
Yeah.
We can remember mistakes we made, but what about mistakes we didn't make? Sometimes
Exactly.
I'm grateful for those.
Well, I mean, is there any part of your life, let's say your career, could be anything, where you could have gone left but you went right, and the best way to go was left?
Yeah. Well, to move to San Francisco, I was union in St. Louis, AFTRA, and at the time, Live 105 wasn't even Live 105. It was Kit's Hot Hits.
Hot hits, yeah.
I had to take a pay cut. I didn't know anybody in San Francisco except the people that I was moving with, and they had all two of them, the one responsible for taking us to San Francisco, had gotten fired along with his assistant because it looked on the surface like they were having blatant affairs. I mean, 3-hour lunches, come back with wine on their breath, and it was extremely believed that that's what got them fired. And so I said, to myself, if they don't curb that, at least the visuals of it, that same thing's going to happen again. And it's similar. It was similar to what happened in San Francisco. And in a year, they were gone. And I'm like, what in the world am I going to do? I'm out here. My allies are gone. But it was a scary
What were you
year.
doing for work at that point?
I was still at Live 105.
You were
I
at Live
did not-
105. Okay.
Yeah, because I thought, that's when I was in St. Louis. I thought, if that's going to happen again, I will be stranded in San Francisco. But I had carved an identity. I love San Francisco. They didn't like it and made jokes about, gays and other San Francisco. I loved it. I was a kid in a candy store in San Francisco. And so that was sensed by the people at the station that I wasn't really in that pack. I didn't think like that. I was a little more open-minded than that.
Yeah.
So they let me stay on, and that was good. It was a nervous time. It was very anxiety.
Yeah, but that's not a case of going right when you should have gone left. That's a case of you did turn left when you could have gone right. In other words, you made the right choice.
Yes.
Yeah, but did you
Yes.
ever make the wrong choice?
I don't know because
Because I'll tell you
we
my
all-
wrong choice.
What was it?
Oh, it happened in San Francisco.
What?
You remember there was a time there where it looked like I was leaving to go to Washington, D.C.?
I remember rumors of it. Yeah.
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 Not Washington, actually, right outside Washington, WJFK.
I knew
I had
it
been
in that
I had been approached by
triangle.
WJFK to come to WJFK, and they were
Yeah.
willing to offer me the same money I was making in San Francisco, which was quite substantial.
It was. It was
But they were
Cornell.
willing to also offer me syndication.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That would have been.
So, but here's the thing: the station was run by what's his name?
Ted Turner.
My mind these days. I'll remember
Was
the
it
name.
Ted Turner? Or,
No, it was a guy
Yeah.
who was Howard Stern's boss over at
Mel Karmazin?
Mel Karmazin.
Mhm.
And it was run by Mel Karmazin. It was one of the Infinity stations.
Mhm.
And so they flew us to Washington, my business manager and I, and showed us the
Yeah.
station and talked to us and told us how much they wanted me and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And then we went back to California. And while we're deciding, we finally decided I'm going to go to Washington.
Oh, you're going to take it.
I hated to do it because I really felt that I liked Live 105. They've been very good to me. The guy who was our general manager, Pat, was
We had two good ones. Yeah.
he was one of the good guys.
Yeah.
And I felt that by leaving him, I would be betraying the station to a certain extent.
Mhm.
But the offer was really good.
Yeah.
And to work with Mel Karmazin was probably really good too.
Yeah.
So then, just before I'm about ready to say to Live 105, I'm leaving, I'm going, or maybe I already said that, I'm talking to them and they say, well, Mel Karmazin will not let you go and will not take you on until you leave. In other words, he doesn't want to. Well, Mel Karmazin was kind of a really ethical radio guy. He didn't want to be accused of stealing somebody from somebody
Oh.
else.
Yeah. Okay.
So they decided, well, why not let we can't do it unless you quit. Once you quit, we will then hire you.
And see, in radio, that's an iffy. That's a kind of an iffy
Well,
situation.
let's also put this in another context. Mel Karmazin had one talent on Infinity, and on his radio stations, syndicated, that was doing very well. His name
Yes.
was Howard Stern. And
Yes.
he had Howard Stern on in San Jose. And I was beating
Yeah.
the pants off of Howard Stern.
Yeah.
And he wanted a San Francisco station to put Howard Stern on.
Right. Yeah. And I've often told people that if the technology had been around, you would be the deal that Howard Stern became.
So
'Cause you were-
at the last moment, I thought about it. I said, I don't trust Mel Karmazin. I just don't know the guy well enough. And he had this just horrible reputation about coming into stations and yelling at general managers. And there's a classic story, I don't know how true it is, where he's walking down the street and all of a sudden he sees somebody who he wants to go yell and scream at across the street, and he walks across Fifth Avenue and starts yelling and screaming at him, and the guy says, Mel, don't do that, you're going to be hit by a car, and he yells back, no car's going to hit Mel Karmazin till I say he can. Now, I don't know if that's a true story or not. I'd like to believe it, okay? But anyway, there were all these stories about Mel Karmazin and whatever, and so I didn't go with Mel Karmazin.
Yeah. Well,
That was my mistake.
Well, Ben, but you don't know. See, we
No,
all
but I
live
do
in
know.
grand-
I do know because I did wind up working for Mel Karmazin
Yeah.
at Sirius XM. He came to be the head of Sirius XM, and I went, well, I guess I'm gone, and I was still there. And then one day there was a point at which Sirius XM was going to go under because the stock market that they had, their shares went down to 5 cents. Okay, and I remember there was this weekend in which Mel Karmazin went in, found buyers for 40% of the station, and saved it. Okay.
Yeah.
And on Monday, I'm in the break room, and there's Mel.
Mm-hmm.
And so I sheepishly walk up to Mel and say, "Hi, Mel. I'm Alex Bennett." He says, "I know you, Alex. I'm a fan."
Yay!
And I
Very
went,
nice.
"This isn't the guy I heard about." And
Because he's a legend in our industry.
yeah, he was. What I misread about Karmazin is that he would yell at his general managers. He was a taskmaster with his sales staffs, but when it came to talent, he did nothing but respect it.
That is a cool, rare
and as
quality.
long as Mel was at Sirius XM, I was at Sirius XM. It was like, I'm sure it was like, okay, well, if we got to fire people, blah, 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 but don't touch Alex. I always got that feeling.
That's a great security feeling.
Yeah.
And you know what? And Mel and Martha Stewart sat right behind me at the Atlanta Olympics. And I'm just saying they were pretty friendly. I'm not implying anything, but I remember that, and then I remember occasional visits. But he had his next in command, a guy named Dan Mason.
Yes, I had Dan Mason. Yeah.
I adore Dan Mason. It came to him to fire Johnny Steele and I, and I have never imagined that someone could be so gracious in firing a person. He arranged an interview for me the next day. He was wonderful, and I will listen. And I had a voiceover, so I had to.
I've heard nothing. I've met Dan Mason on one occasion, and I've heard nothing but wonderful things about him.
He's awesome. I would go to the mat for Dan Mason.
Yeah, well, they treated talent beautifully, even in your case of getting fired. But the reason why I finally got fired, I think, was because they got rid of Mel Karmazin. He left. And now I'm out there waving in the wind. And the next thing I know, I'm being let go.
Well, Dan Mason was so good about communicating the reasons for your hiring, the business reasons, and doing it so respectfully.
They brought in Howard Stern. That was that was a financial reason why. It was their talent.
he said we keep you on because we like what you're doing, but we already own Howard Stern. That was exactly how he put it. We own Howard Stern, and that's what they were doing. We saw the writing on the wall because they were buying markets and they were buying stations in major markets and putting in Stern.
Yeah, they're
So
putting
I
in
knew
Stern. I
from,
mean, that wasn't the only reason they bought the stations, but when they did, they put in Stern. Yeah,
yeah,
but one of the reasons I didn't take that deal from Karmazin is I got the feeling they were trying to get me out of the way to get Stern in there, because you remember at that point
oh,
they had already bought our station, if I remember
yeah.
correctly, you know, uh, our little adventures in radio. You
Yeah,
know.
I mean, who knows? We know what happened. We don't know what nearly happened in so many situations.
Yeah,
Good, bad,
yeah.
different.
But
But that's
I may have made a big mistake by not going to Washington. On the other hand, I could have gone to Washington and it could have been a disaster. You know.
right. Yeah, exactly. So we always aggrandize what we didn't do, and yet there are 4,000 million downsides that are
Well,
also
what happened was also, we're going to go over here, but to hell with it. I enjoy this. Um, um,
with possible,
they
you know,
at Live 105, they said, please stay. And I said, well, they were offering me syndication. They said, we'll syndicate you.
really.
Yeah. And they never
Wow.
made good on
Oh,
it.
man. Because Bennett, I mean, that's I have told so many people. Stern's timing was right. But he listened to you in college, didn't he? When he was in college,
Yeah, 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 yeah,
when you were on in New York,
yeah.
and the technology.
Listen,
It's all
he has
about.
admitted to people I know privately, Alex was my major influence.
Yeah, and you can
On
see
the
it.
air, he will say, "Oh, I never, I, don't- when I was at Sirius XM and I was there, he came into my show because he was mad about something I said about him, about somebody who worked for
Oh,
him. Okay, but that's a whole nother long story. But he said on the air, Alex Bennett, I didn't think he was here anymore. Of course you knew I was there, Howard.
right, right. There's posturing, and then there's what we really
Yeah,
know.
and you know, I mean, yes, he was a big success, and but he did in many ways steal my act.
There were so many
In
similarities,
fact, he
and the
stole two acts. I'll
technology.
have to tell you, he stole two acts. I also did Midnight Blue for a while when I was in New
Yeah,
York.
which was an adult show
Sex show.
about.
He took the aspects of that show and applied it to
Very true.
his
Very
career.
true.
So if I never said to myself, let's see, if I take my regular persona and I add the sex that I did on Midnight Blue, maybe I could be a big success. Nah, you know. But that's what Howard Stern became.
Yeah, and
You
we're
know.
all an amalgam of so many
Also,
things
he
we
had
love.
one other thing, one other key to Howard's success, and that other key was Mel Karmazin. This was a guy that totally believed in what he was doing and stood by him. You know, if you and I were working at a radio station and the FCC said, we're putting charges against you, we're thinking of fining your radio station $5,000 for what Alex Bennett did on the show or what Lori Thompson did or whatever, we'd be out the door, right?
Probably.
Right?
Hmm.
Probably. No,
Yeah.
not probably. It would be. Karmazin stuck through him. The fines came. He fought the fines. You know, he did all that needed to be done to stand up for Stern. Well, I got to admire that. And that's the reason Stern became a success, because he allowed these charges and stuff against him to become a national story because they were fighting it. And he,
Yes.
I don't know, Mel, I have nothing but the greatest respect for Mel.
I same here, but I just adore Dan
There would be
Mason.
no Howard Stern without Mel Karmazin.
Right. And well, just like there would be no Katie Couric without Jeff Zucker. There would, I mean, everybody
Yeah,
who,
yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of people. It
Anyway,
really,
we better get going here. Otherwise, people are going to get mad at me because I'm not going to let them talk tonight. So I'll let all three people that call me You know.
Yeah, we'll ship out. Time for us to
Yeah. But
vamoose.
let's do this again. Let's see here. We got Christmas coming up, but we'll have to figure that one out. Maybe we'll do one
Oh,
before Christmas or something.
okay.
You know.
Yeah.
And
Because
anyway, have a nice couple of weeks, and I'll see you next time
I'll send
in a
you
week.
a
I don't know when this
postcard.
is. I have to look at the calendar to see when this is going out.
I
Anyway,
think
hey, I love
that's
you,
a,
dear. I really do.
yeah,
You know,
I love you, Ben.
it gets. I get more and more warm in the heart every time I talk to you. That's Lori Thompson, ladies and gentlemen. She will warm the cockles of your heart.
Now in its 10th year, this is GabNet. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Well, thank you very much, Lori Thompson, for joining us this evening. We're glad to talk to her and have her on and all of that. And should I bring myself down a little bit here? I don't know. You know, every time I come on a what do you call it? On a Wednesday, I've had a couple of days not using this equipment, and it all changes. So I have to then come in and change it again. Okay, there we go. There we go. Hey, listen, I got something to show you first before we go to our citizen panel, and I'm sure here's this beard. This beard's getting weird. It like gets long in one place, but not long in the other, and I don't know how to handle this now. I've got to do something about it. Anyway, I may cut it down. Marjorie wants me to cut it down. Do you think I should cut it down? Anyway, we had a guest here today, and I just wanted to bring this up because I know a lot of you would be interested in knowing about this. Well, let me show you who came over to see us today. Let me see here. Where do we go? Here we go. There we go. There. Look at that. Hey, that's not just showing up 1 minute before the hour's over. That's actually Don Giller, along with Marjorie and myself, all here at my apartment. I was asleep today, and I was napping, and all of a sudden my phone rings, and it's Don Giller, and he says, "I'm downstairs." And I said, "Great, I'm glad he finally decided to show up. I can't pull that joke anymore." So there we are all together. He came by, and we must have hung out for a couple of hours talking about one thing or another. And he promised me he would come back again, so I hope he will. And I hope he calls tonight so I can thank him for coming by to see us today. Anyway, that's our little thing with Don Giller. God, I need to trim this beard now once again. I think I got to just move it down to the place where it was before. Anyway, let me let all these people in because they're getting really mad because I haven't talked to them yet. And here they come, and there they are. And oh wow, we got Jeff, and we got Charlie, and we got Alan, and we got Kevin. Hello to all of you. How are you?
Hello there.
Good.
Yeah?
Good.
Yeah, you're good? Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, thank you so much. Did you see that picture I showed of Don
Yeah.
Giller? Mm-hmm.
I was trying to figure out who was in the background, and Marjorie and Dawn looked good. I thought maybe that was somebody else. And when you said it was you, then I realized it was you.
Yeah.
You were kind of out of focus for.
What do you mean? I was back there. You know.
You were.
I mean, I let Marjorie be more in the front because she's better looking than I am. You know.
I agree.
But I was happy to have them here. Happy to have him here. You know,
Yeah.
for the longest time he's been joking about, "Oh, I'll come over. I'll be over in 5 minutes or whatever," and he never. Today was his birthday, so
Wow.
because he got out of the house, and he decided he would come see me, and he told me. I think he told me at some point, "I'll come see you on my birthday," and I didn't believe him.
Yeah. Well.
But
Gotta
anyway,
be about 70, huh?
huh?
70? He's about 70. Don.
I think he's maybe. Oh no! Wait a minute. He's 11 years younger than me. He's 74.
That was close.
Yeah. Unlike you, how old are you?
11 years younger than him. No. 66.
66. Okay.
That makes
Okay.
me 8 years younger than him. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. Anyway.
I will be 80 this year.
Oh,
Wow.
you're a child.
Yeah,
That's
we
right.
want to all be here when you tell us you're going to be 90 too, Jeff.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, he's going to make it far further than the rest of us because he has has artificial stuff inside of him now.
A lot of it.
He's Robo Man, you know?
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Well, last night it was strange. I took a weird fall.
Oh,
No, this wasn't caused by my neuropathy or anything else. What I did, I have a tendency when I get on the toilet to start sitting there and doing my crossword puzzle from the New York Times. And before I know
Legs
it,
go to sleep, huh?
yeah, my leg fell asleep. Well, I got up, right? And I stood up, and the foot was just like there wasn't any foot there,
Yep.
you know? And then all of a sudden I tried to kind of turn around a little bit, and it wouldn't turn with me. It wouldn't do anything. And I fell on the toilet seat, and then caught my nuts in the toilet seat, and then cut my groin a little bit with some abrasions, which were bleeding. Wasn't that wonderful?
Oh man! And you didn't even send us pictures?
No. You want to see it now? I'll
No.
It was amazing. It was just, and it had nothing to do with my neuropathy. It had nothing to do with any of that. It had to do with the fact that my foot fell asleep, and I felt I could stand on it and that it would just get better, but it wasn't getting better. And there was a place I could have grabbed onto, but I didn't, and so I fell down into the toilet seat. And then
So you hit your head on the toilet seat and your groin.
I didn't hit my head on the toilet seat. My nuts got smashed in the toilet seat, okay?
I hate when that happens. Oh God.
Yeah. Well,
I hate when I sit down and think your nuts are out of the way of the toilet seat and you sit right on them. 300 pounds on them little devils.
and Marjorie and I went out for a walk yesterday. I walked about a mile,
Yeah.
and it was tough. It was really tough for me.
Everybody said, "Look at that guy. It looks like he's walking like he sat on his nuts."
No, that was early. That was later that night.
Oh.
Now I look like somebody who sat on my nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, if I was the almighty creator, I'd make testicles a little less tender.
well, mine are don't. This happened, and I figured I'm going to get like a stomach ache. You know that thing that happens when somebody kicks you in the balls.
Yeah.
Didn't hurt a bit. Didn't hurt a bit, which leads me to believe I don't have any testicles left. I don't know. So. So enough of my problems. Oh boy. So anyway, what else
I
happened?
have a grab bar. My foot used to go to sleep all the time because I put my elbow on my leg when I'm doing my business, and then my leg goes to sleep and I can't get up. So I got a grab bar mounted to the wall next
I've got
to
a
me.
grab bar too, but I didn't think about grabbing it. I just figured if I got up and stood up for a short time, which usually happens, the numbness would go away, but it didn't. It just refused to.
Yeah.
And I kind of felt wobbly, and I couldn't stand on that foot. I was like a two-legged stool. So anyway, but I'm better today. So what the hell?
Good.
That is part of your neuropathy, though. I'll tell you that now.
It is.
Probably.
It is part of my neuropathy. What?
Yeah, because you're already numb, but then you're number.
Oh yeah. Okay. So the
What?
'Cause
neuropathy
my leg
adds to it.
doesn't turn; it's fused, so my ankle doesn't turn. So if I get in that position, and that happens to me all the time, because I take my phone in there and send out my messages and do my billing.
Before you know it, it's a half hour, and you've got
Next
the.
thing you know, it's 45 minutes later, and you're going, "Oh shit!"
Yeah.
Well, I don't have neuropathy.
But my leg
but
don't turn.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
today I sat on the toilet and I sat there for 2 minutes and got up. I said, I'm not doing this again.
It's almost like getting an epidural.
See, I don't have neuropathy, but when you're leaning on your leg with your elbow,
Oh yeah, I've had that happen.
cuts off the blood supply,
Circulation, yeah.
and it goes numb. Yeah. So
Well, anyway, so But
I'm glad it's never happened to Jeff or Charlie.
I walked yesterday for about a mile, and Marjorie said I was doing just fine, but I didn't feel I was doing fine. It was a lot of work for me. So, but I haven't been out in 2 weeks. Are you falling asleep now, Alan? Am I boring you?
No, I'm
Oh,
listening. I'm sorry, I didn't.
He's meditating.
I'm meditating. Thank you, Jeff.
yeah. So anyway, I really am getting to enjoy Donald Trump.
Oh, somebody should.
He's the only president I could think of that would open a used car lot in the driveway of the White House.
And have the paper written up and everything.
Yeah, he had all the prices on all of them. And we got a great car here. It's only this, and this car's only
The red
that.
one is this one. Yeah, your financing will be this much. It's like
Well,
sat in that car like you'd never seen a car before.
And I'm glad I missed that.
Did you see the thing that Jimmy Kimmel did? Where he at one point he
hit
went
the
over
back of the truck.
went over to the truck, the one they have.
Yeah,
And he patted it a couple of times or something to show how
and the fender fell off.
and they made the fender fall off. But it was didn't really happen.
Yeah, it was generated. Yeah,
If you want to call it fake news, that was definitely fake news. Okay.
but it was real comedy.
It is. And also tonight, hey, they were going to send up a rocket to go get those 2 people up there who were like stuck up there forever. It had a problem taking off.
The bus broke down.
It was like they have hydraulics that, latch onto this thing and then let it go. Okay. And unfortunately, one of the hydraulics wouldn't go. So they aborted the flight.
The thing up on top that holds the rocket up.
What?
Talking about the gantry.
I don't think it was a
holds the
gantry.
rocket?
I think it was a thing that holds it down
Oh, okay.
and then
Holds
goes
it
up like
vertical, I
this, right?
Vertical. Yeah, that's what. I
And
was
one of
thinking.
them.
Once the power comes up, they move out of the way so the rocket can take off.
Yeah.
And all the lines.
All of a
snap
sudden,
off
he's
of it.
having a lot of trouble with those rockets. Although this was, I believe, NASA's fault because it took off from Cape Canaveral or Cape Kennedy. What's it called anymore?
Didn't he fire everybody from NASA yet?
Yeah, it was 39. Pad 39 or something.
Yeah.
39A.
But anyway, I think those hydraulics were part of the NASA component. Okay.
Must have been the budget cuts. Probably the
Yeah,
cuts.
must have
Wait a
been.
minute.
Yeah, that's what it was.
I'm okay with him blowing up his rockets left and right, costing him money.
Cut out the engineering.
No, it
department.
costs us money because we're paying for them.
Yeah.
It doesn't cost him money.
Yeah, Kevin's right. Cut out the engineering department. Who needs them?
Don't need them.
Well,
He's already built.
Well, the good news is that as of yesterday, Elon Musk had lost about $70 billion.
Oh, yeah.
No, his stock
Beautiful
is
thing.
dropping like crazy.
Stock's a little up today, but the sales of Teslas have tanked.
Yep.
Now, I want to know why a guy feels that he can do what he did and everybody's still going to love him and buy his cars.
Can you see one of these guys out in the farm or something saying, I'm going to go buy me a Tesla? No.
The Consumer Reports does a thing on cars every 6 months or every year. And I was reading it, and they said, if you want an electric car, don't buy a Tesla, get a Cadillac. It's a much better built car.
Yeah, Brian wrote that article.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
probably.
Right.
I forgot about that. Brian has one.
Yeah. But it was no, he doesn't have an electric one.
What?
Yeah, I think he does.
Brian doesn't have an electric one. I don't think.
Cadillac? Yeah,
No, he
yeah.
does.
Is an
Yeah.
electric Cadillac? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just
All right.
bought one recently.
What?
He bought it just, I don't know.
He buys cars like he buys houses.
3 or 4
Yeah.
months.
You know.
They knew that he was going to be unemployed, so buy the car before him.
Yeah.
Anyways, so
Yeah, they've got a lot of people out here that are going to the Tesla car showrooms and standing out front with their signs saying, don't buy this car. There was a whole bunch of them out there today.
well, Tesla is the car that has Kimi written all over it.
Oh, yeah.
People
Absolutely.
are smashing windows on Teslas.
I think that's sad because, like here in the Bay Area, they're vandalizing Teslas, and most of the people in the Bay Area are Democrats and didn't vote for this idiot.
No.
And they also probably bought the car way before
Yeah.
Elon Musk acted
Absolutely.
out.
So I
You
think
know,
it's totally wrong to vandalize these
They're
cars.
stuck with it.
I mean,
Vandalize the cars at the dealership or at the factory, but not
Yeah.
not
No,
at
don't
somebody.
vandalize any cars. Jeez.
Oh, Charlie, you come from a neighborhood where cars never got vandalized.
well, I don't think that helps anything. You know. Plus, you should be satisfied with the fact that his sales are down. I think, is it 40% in the United States? Maybe
At least,
more.
yeah.
I
In
thought it
Europe,
was
it's
like
even worse.
60. Yeah, I
Maybe
thought
it's
it was like
60.
I
Yeah,
heard 60.
yeah. I mean, he's hurting.
He's not hurting. He's just
No.
taking a little boo boo.
Well, no. Let's be honest about it. He's got some other companies that could start hurting as well. Certainly, you go, well, okay, SpaceX, it's a space thing. The government pays for it. They ain't going to stop paying for it now that Trump's president. But you've got the Skylink system. That's up there.
Starlink.
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 And
Yeah,
who-
Skylink. Oh,
Yeah. I'm thinking of what?
Terminator. Yeah.
Terminator, yeah. Starlink is, it's a company that you buy the product.
He owns Starlink and the SpaceX. Excuse me, I'm eating jelly beans. And he owns them outright. I mean, him and partners own them. They're not publicly traded like Tesla.
Oh, really? So they're privately owned, yeah. Although SpaceX is being supported by the government.
I'm sure.
He's getting a lot of government subsidies on that. But, and the latest rockets that have been exploding were not the standard rocket they used to send people up to the space stations. This is the big, giant, mega monster,
He wants to go to Mars with, yeah.
Yeah, or the moon at least, And
He's
a lot
having trouble getting out of Earth's atmosphere.
well, he can, he could probably get to the moon in one of his other rockets, but he wants to go in this one so he can land and put a lot of, hardware on the surface of the moon.
They could have the first American president go to the moon. They could send Trump up in one of these things.
Yeah, before it's been fully tested, you mean?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And Trump keeps saying, and then we'll go to Mars. Listen, Donald, in your lifetime, you're never going to see us land on Mars, okay? You'll be lucky if you make it to the way he eats food and the kind of diet he's on. He'll be lucky if he lives out his term,
We'll be lucky if he doesn't live out his term.
We'll be lucky if he doesn't live out his term. I don't know if what's going to be worse, Trump or Vance.
I don't know.
And Vance is very malleable. So whoever is really running the show, and I don't think it's Trump, okay? I think it's some kind of nefarious black arts group or whatever. He's more malleable than Trump is. But where
He's
Trump
younger.
is, where Trump is terrible right now, is that he's not ready to admit that this economy, he's managed to ruin this economy, what, in 6 weeks?
Yep.
How do you do that?
That's the way he's doing it.
He
Tariffs now apply to steel and aluminum throughout the world coming into America.
Yep.
The
Well,
UK
how's that going to solve any problem? We don't have the ability to make aluminum here.
No.
We can make steel, but we don't have the steel. What do you call it? Furnaces to do it with necessarily anymore. So we have to rely on other countries for this. Stuff you rely on, you don't put a tariff on.
Yeah, well, Elon Musk uses a lot of steel.
Yeah.
Kind of interesting. I bet his stuff will be tariff free.
Well, most cars are. What did I read? What did I see? It's something like 50% steel, 20% aluminum. The rest is probably plastic.
We get 50% of our aluminum from Canada, so.
Yep.
Yep.
And we here in New York, we get a lot of our electricity from Canada.
Yep. And the prime minister or somebody like that said, if you want to keep playing games, we'll cut the power.
It was the mayor of Ottawa or someplace like that, yeah, who said that.
Three major states will go black.
But he's decided not to do it now, since the president has decided not to put a tariff on electricity right now. So I know it's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. This is a guy who knows nothing about business.
Nope.
Didn't any of these people who vote for him realize that this is the guy that bankrupted a casino? I mean, you have to work pretty hard at bankrupting a casino.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean,
All cash business. You can hide a lot of cash from the IRS, which I'm sure he did.
well, he didn't have it long enough to do that.
No.
The thing failed from the beginning.
Did it?
Yep.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. I can't remember what the big mistake was he made. I used to know it.
Not paying the contractors.
No, that,
Probably, yeah.
well, that wasn't the major part of it. There was something, I don't know, the way he was running it was just terrible.
You should hire Jeff. Jeff could come in.
But
and
you
take
know,
care of all-
he comes from the from the school of what's his name, Roy Cohn.
Wharton. Isn't that where he went?
No, Roy Cohn was the guy who was his mentor,
Oh,
and Roy Cohn said, "Never admit you're wrong."
right.
So you think he's going to admit that there's something wrong with his decision to do all this tariff stuff?
No.
You know.
He can't even remember himself what he did yesterday.
You're right. He is kind of.
I love how he denies stuff all the time when, 14 cameras and 14 different stations have all got it live. And he's like, I didn't say that. I didn't.
Yeah, right. Did I call? I think he was famous for saying when they said, "But you called Zelensky what do you call it? A dictator."
Yeah.
And he said, "Did I say that?" Well, I think you better remember what you said, especially when it comes to international diplomacy.
Yep.
You know. So, here we are again. I when this whole thing started, I said, I don't want to talk about Trump. You can't avoid it. I mean, come on. Do you have stocks, Kevin?
Yeah.
How much money have you lost this week?
I don't look.
Smart.
The last time I looked, it was down 2,000 out of 10.
You have 10,000 in there? And
Yeah, it was up to 10,000 or almost 11,000. Yeah, about 11,000. Last time I looked, it was around 9 or 8.
Oh God, I hate to even think how low
lucky
mine has
you.
gone.
It's
What?
only three. It's only three companies.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Lucky you. I wish I only had 10,000 in the market.
The other stuff I don't even look at. My 401k and all that. Yeah.
well, I've got 600,000 in the market. And I've just got to hope and pray that it doesn't. But what is it? Something like 100,000 or maybe 150,000 is in government bonds, so they don't lose money.
Yeah, that's what my guy does. He keeps them in there. He said, we're going to keep them in there until this guy settles down.
It's good.
His words.
Yeah, well, I mean, I do something about it, but you don't sell when
No, 'cause
things
you
are
get
bad.
taxed on it.
Hmm?
You get taxed on the capital gains.
Well, if you didn't make any money, then there's no capital gains.
Right. That's right. I actually, my stock portfolio's gone up 12% in the 2 months Trump's been in office, except for this week. This week it's dropped off. And I
Well,
haven't
the last week it's been dreadful.
I know, but even when it was dreadful the week before and stuff, my stocks were going up.
My stocks were
It all depends on where you have it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, certain companies, like I've got some in Square, and that's been going up. It hasn't dropped.
Yeah.
Apple's gone
Apple's
up and down.
Apple's down today.
Yeah, it's
Apple-
been up and down though.
They're expecting, that according to the NBC News or something like that, the business news, the CNBC, they're thinking Apple's going to take a big plunge here soon. So, but what goes down will come back up. You got time. You're not dying tomorrow.
Well, Apple could take a gigantic plunge and it would still be a wealthy company.
Absolutely.
So I mean, I don't think it's going to be the death of Apple.
I don't own any Apple stock. I own Cisco, which is probably worse for ups and downs. The internet company, Cisco, not Cisco Foods, but Cisco provides about 80% of the internet to the world, through routers and stuff like that. And boy, that bounces all over the place.
Yeah.
I got out of that one.
You got out of what one?
Cisco.
Cisco? Oh.
Yeah, I had a friend that worked there, and she said, "You ought to buy it." It was years ago,
Really? Oh, well.
but it was constantly going up $25, down $25, up $25, down $25, up $30, down 40.
Oh, God.
It hasn't changed much.
I own Costco.
You own
On
Costco?
my drive down there, it's hard to get a parking spot.
Right? They should have a spot for you.
That's true.
They should have two.
Well, Cisco's up to $60 a share. You should have hung on to it, Kevin.
Yeah, because I think I was in there in 40, I think. 40 something, 35, 40.
Yeah.
I just figured
It's my biggest holding. I got 9,000 shares of it. So.
my biggest choice was my mattress. Okay.
You slept on them, huh?
The best place to put it. It crinkles a little bit and it's a little uncomfortable when you're sleeping at night, but at least you know it's there.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's just amazing. I mean, it's just
I can afford to lose money in Cisco. I bought it when it was 20 or something like that years ago, 30 years ago.
yeah, but you don't want to.
I know. I don't want to pay the damn taxes.
Plus the fact that you may have have made more money over the years as the years
Oh,
have
I've
gone
made a
on.
lot
But
of
as
money.
the years have gone on, the worth of the dollar has changed too.
It's also split a couple times. And so, yeah, I got 9,000 shares of it.
Yeah. Well, do you do stocks at all, Charlie? Oh, I mean, turn on your microphone. I know you were trying to avoid us, but I'm going to drag you kicking and screaming.
To buy stocks.
What?
I'm too poor to buy stocks.
Well, some people, even people who don't have a lot of money, have some stocks.
Like me.
Huh?
Like me.
Like me, I don't have a lot of money, but I have, And of course, Kevin over there can probably, beat all of us to fare thee well. He's so wealthy.
Absolutely.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Well, and then I mean, it's just that there's a whole thing going on here in New York with this student at Columbia who was he was sympathetic towards Gaza, and
Yeah,
huh?
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. I don't have his name here right now.
Yeah, I don't know.
But they went out to his house a couple of days ago, ICE, and they arrested him and they sent him off to Florida. To Florida?
God, that's punishment. What'd they do that for?
Yeah,
Maybe it was
What
Florida.
an unusual
That's
punishment.
almost like Siberia. Isn't
Yeah.
it?
Well, what they do is what's his name? John Oliver did a whole thing about immigration and about where they take these people and put them, and they put them in these. They aren't arresting them for crimes; they're just arresting them because they're thinking of deporting them, right? Because they didn't have a green card or whatever.
Yeah.
But they put them in these places that are so far from lawyers that they can't even have proper representation. Well, today, in front of the courthouse, there was a huge, it was about, I haven't seen a crowd like that in a long time, protesting the arrest of this guy. To begin with, his wife is going to be having a baby in about a month.
They don't give a fuck.
Yeah, they don't give a fuck. And they say because he was pro-Palestinian or he was pro-Hamas.
Right.
He was never pro-Hamas.
Well, he was never.
pro-Palestinian.
He was pro-Palestinian, never pro-Hamas. But they said he. You listen to the president talk about it. He says, "Oh, he's pro-Hamas."
Yeah.
And what's his
that was
name?
a-
Our Secretary of State said, "Yeah, oh no, he was pro-Hamas." Well, I
There's
don't know.
the evidence.
No,
Yeah.
what they were protesting there was Colombia's money being used to support Israel. Okay? And that they felt that that was wrong, that they shouldn't do that. And so he protested it, and they had a lot of demonstrations up there, and they got a little unruly, but, you know, sometimes they do if you don't know how to handle them. And, I'm going to sneeze here. Hold on.
Pepper spray works good, not for your sneeze, but for how to handle the people at the college.
Well, anyway, the fact was that it was terrible. What happened there was a big riots and so on and so forth. But
Blatantly unconstitutional.
huh?
It's blatantly unconstitutional. He hadn't committed any crimes. They have no evidence that he committed any crimes.
What he did was constitutional.
Yeah.
Okay.
All he did was-
Absolutely. Fell
Freedom
under
of
the First
speaking.
Amendment.
S-
Fell
uh,
under the First Amendment. You
Some
have
of the
right-
demonstrations got unruly. There got to be some damage. Some people got threatened and so on. But he wasn't involved in that.
Yeah.
You know, he was just one of the leaders of the demonstrations saying, hey, Colombia, don't like our money that we give you to go towards supporting Israel. All right? Which he has a right to do. And he had a green card. He didn't have just
Gotta be careful.
a temporary visa. He had a green card.
Yeah, well, still got to be careful with just a green card.
And you can't revoke a green card without going before a judge, and they have nowhere gone anywhere near a judge.
Well, what they've done is they can do everything illegal they want to do.
Well, they punished him. They sent him to Florida.
No, but I mean, I'm saying that they're, and his wife's going to have a baby in a month, within a month. I mean,
Well, first of all, they didn't say where they took him. It took like 2 days for them to figure out where he was.
and by the way, he was going to graduate this year, and I guess he can't now. I mean, it's really terrible what they do in the name of our country. Terrible.
Well,
No matter how you feel about Israel versus Palestinians and so on and so forth, the fact is this kid was doing exactly what he had every right to do, and that was to protest what he felt was a policy of the of Colombia that wasn't acceptable.
it actually was before Trump. So
And then Trump went and took away a bunch of financing of Colombia.
Yeah,
Because they said they didn't prevent anti-Semitism. Since
Right.
when has Trump ever cared about anti-Semitism?
right.
No, look at he supports Elon Musk, who gives the Nazi symbol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Salute, yeah.
And by the way, goes and gives speeches to the very right-wing party in Germany, which is pro-Nazi.
Yeah.
I mean, what does, all I'm saying to Elon Musk is, you've got a great business. What do you have, a desire to fail? He's sabotaging his own companies.
Yeah.
Oh, he bought X and turned that into a disaster. So, guy's another Trump. He's a great businessman in name, but not in practicality.
Well, I don't know, well, how good a businessman is Elon Musk considered to be? To begin with, everything he ever got involved in, he took over, didn't he, from somebody else? He bought it from somebody else?
Probably.
I mean, when he was originally with, didn't he do, what was it? eBay was his? No,
PayPal.
PayPal. He bought that idea away from somebody else, and then Tesla, I think he maybe even bought the idea away from somebody else. I mean, he's just known how to make investments at the right time, but he certainly doesn't know anything about running a company. He hires people that know how to run it, obviously.
Occasionally, he won't listen to them.
What?
I did.
You have to listen to him. Just because you hire people, that doesn't mean if you don't listen to them and
Well, running government is not the same as running a company.
Well,
Okay?
that's true.
I will grant you that if it were like running a company, these would be good ideas. They're not good ideas because it's not like running a company.
Yeah.
In fact, it's terrible. So anyway, so that's
When Musk was developing his company up here in the Bay Area, I was working for a company that supplied his liquid nitrogen, and I had to go repo like 20 dewars of liquid nitrogen because he wasn't paying for it.
oh really?
Yeah,
That bad?
before
huh?
anybody knew the guy. Yeah, I had to go repo a whole truckload of liquid nitrogen.
Well, no wonder he's buddies with Trump.
Yep.
They say that Ontario's Ford, that's the guy you were talking about, is winning the tariff battle against Trump.
Yeah.
Good.
You know, Trump changes his mind every hour
Yeah.
because he is so probably so flummoxed by the way the stock market has gone. For years, he used to say the stock market this, when I was president, the stock market was the best that it's ever been, and blah, 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 and he just loved making a big deal out of it. When the fact of the matter was, he didn't know diddly, you know?
Well, if you invested wisely when you were younger, I mean, I just looked up, I paid 60,000 for my Cisco stock 22 years ago, and it's now worth $500,000. So that was a good investment.
What was it when you bought it?
60,000.
60,000. Okay.
60,000.
Almost
Yeah, I
tenfold.
don't have my shares written down. How many?
And now
shares?
it's worth how much?
Now I have 9,000 shares and it's worth 540,000.
Okay, so it's about sextupled itself.
It's done good.
Yeah, it's done good. Yeah, but you had to wait how many years for that?
Yeah, really. Who knew? I didn't know if I'd still be around by the time I did this.
Was there any time during that period of time that you thought about selling it?
Yeah, about 5 or 8 years ago, it was down in the 30s, and it wouldn't get above 30, like 5 or something. So, and I thought, well, maybe I should just sell this stock and get out. I got money in it, and just sell it.
And now it's what? How much?
Closed at $60 and some change today.
Okay, so that's
I'm glad I
good.
hung on to it.
Yeah, yeah. But that was 20 years of you not having that money available.
Right, that's right. But part of the problem is I don't need the money. I don't want to sound like wealthy or anything. I don't need the money because I have rental income money coming in and retirement, and I just don't need to sell any stock. And if I do, I'm going to get hit really hard with taxes on capital gains. So I'm hoping Trump wipes out the capital gains for sale of stocks.
Well, the thing is that I don't have a capital gains problem for the most part because the money I put in was non-taxable money.
Oh, retirement?
No, it was from Shecky's will,
Oh,
and
oh,
you
yeah.
don't get taxed on.
Well, if the stock goes up $10.
No, if the stock goes up and I make money on that
Yeah.
stock, I pay
Yeah.
the tax on the money I
both
make
of it,
on that
whatever
stock.
went up. Yeah, that's good.
So it's going to be. Thank you, Trump, for making sure I'm not ever going to have to pay money. Thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah.
No, I mean, my stock was doing pretty good. My business manager said, you have the same amount of money you had a year ago, and you've spent a lot of it.
I'm in the same position.
But that's not true today.
No.
In fact, I haven't even written my business manager. I wanted to write him and say, what do we do about this? There's nothing you can do. When the market is bad, you're not going to get out of it. Then you're definitely going to lose money. Eventually, it will go back up. Maybe not in my lifetime, but it will go back up. I think he's destroyed in a month and a half a lot. have you been affected? Has your stock been affected, Jeff? Do you have stocks?
Yeah.
Has it been affected?
Oh, yeah.
How
Wow.
badly would you say?
Well, yeah, I would say definitely. And we actually decided to go through a bunch of things that we've been investing in. And I looked at it and I said, let's look at it and see how good have they been in the last 3 years. And some of them were not that good. So I said, today's the day to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can take off $3,000 a year
Yeah.
on losses like that and off your taxes. So
We all got grandkids. We're all going to colleges.
why don't you give them the stocks?
We do.
Good. I could be one of your grandkids, Jeff.
Well,
Me too. Me too.
I know you did really well when you went to
Now
medical
Jeff's
school.
probably gonna say I could be
Turned
one of
out to
yours
a
too.
cop.
Yeah, I'm doing okay.
So all of us have stock except Charlie, so he's going to have to, hit us up for bucks when he needs it.
If he didn't buy all those damn records and CDs that are on the wall next to him, he might have been able to afford stock.
Yep.
Well, you're making ends meet, right?
Well, as long as they don't trash Social Security, I am.
Well, what are they going to do to Social
Right.
Security? You can't do anything about it because that's our
They can
money.
fire all the workers so they can't send out the money.
Well, they maybe won't be able to send out the checks, but the fact is they'll still owe it to us.
Yep.
That'll do me a lot of good when I can't pay my rent.
Because Social Security pays for itself, and secondly, you pay for Social Security, and your employer does. In the time that I've been around, I've gotten I get a nice little paycheck from Social Security, and it's nice to be able to get.
Tons a
And
month.
I'm sure Charlie is very happy that there's a Social Security. But please don't take it away. Don't try to take it away. Don't think you have the ability to take it away. If you want to take it away, then you're going to have to pay us a whole bunch of money to pay us off for not sending us checks anymore.
Most of my friends that are retired live on Social Security. I mean, it's not their total income, but it's a big chunk of their income.
Well, between Marjorie and I, we bring in about 52, what was it, 20, 30, about $5,200 a month in Social Security.
That's a lot of money.
And then I've got some what do you call it, money that I get from SAG-AFTRA in the pension fund. So, if we didn't have any more money, we could probably survive on that. Except that I'd have to do something about this hellacious rent I pay. Well, come on, you laugh, but it went up $40 in the last 4 years. Okay,
$40 a month. Yeah, wow, that's horrible. I'd move out if I were you for that.
yeah. I was talking to Don Giller today and asking him how much he pays in rent because he's been in his apartment since 1979.
It shows.
Well, he says it's he never can move out because he's got so much stuff there.
Right. Yeah.
And I said, what happens though is you get an apartment, and you figure, oh, look at all the space I've got. When I looked at this place, I went, look at all the space I've got. I can take care of everything I have here.
Yep.
And somehow, no matter what happens, you grow into that space. And then there
Always.
becomes too much stuff in that space. You don't say, I'm not going to get any more because I don't want to push the space.
Here's the cool thing. All the stuff you and Marjorie think are valuable to you, when you're gone, whoever your heirs are going to back up a dumpster.
Oh, absolutely.
80% of the stuff is just going to go in the trash.
Shecky said that to me. I said, Shecky, you got all these DVDs. He had like maybe 10,000 DVDs, all right? Amazing amount of DVDs.
Well, artwork, too.
I said, well, no. I said, but with the DVDs, what's going to happen to all of these? He says, when I die, they're going to pull the dumpster up to the door, and they're going to throw all the DVDs in there.
I have a lot of stuff around here that wouldn't mean anything to anybody else in my family.
Don't throw them away. Just Sell them the half price books, and they'll give you something for it.
Well, you think so, but like with a DVD, how much are DVDs worth today? You answered my question for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know.
No, the
I'm
last
no.
one I bought was like $11. So I mean, I don't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but now if you tried to sell it, you could maybe get $2 for it, right?
That's better than zero.
Yeah, well, okay.
I only have one DVD here that I honestly feel is worth any great amount of money. And it's a DVD of the history of European silent film. And because all the rights to the videos on those discs has run out, they can't publish them again.
Wow.
So the ones that are out there, and I looked up to see how much it's worth, about $300. The one DVD. I have it sitting right up here. Yeah. So, you know.
That'd be the first one your heirs throw out. Go, God, look at this old thing.
Well, they could throw out a whole bunch of them, and they wouldn't be worth. They'd be worth $300. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, it's just that you hold on to something, and my advice to most kids would be don't ever throw anything away, because
that's like
eventually they'll all come to be worth something. I mean, if you were a kid in 1934 bought Action Comics #1 and you never got rid of it, you would have in your hands a comic book worth several $1 million.
You have Tony grade it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, there was a thing on Spielberg had the show called Amazing Stories, and one of the stories was about a kid who got somebody told him, don't ever get rid of anything you love. And so he wound up being just absolutely poor, but he had all these comic books and everything, and they were worth millions because he loved them and he didn't get rid of them. You know. But then,
I have graded coins.
but how do you get rid of something you love?
That's the problem.
That's the problem. If you
But
love it,
your heirs can get rid of it easy. Like I have coins that are graded and sealed that are worth, you know, so much. I look it up and stuff. I don't want to get rid of them. I like them. They're neat coins to look at and stuff like that. But yeah, my heirs are just going to take them to a coin dealer and sell them.
well, I mean, the thing is that most of the stuff isn't, you know, it's not worth the amount you think it is, you know. But
I have one gold $20 gold piece that, according to the coin dealer locally here, I took it there about a year ago, and he said, "I'll give you 20,000 cash for it."
really, what kind of coin is it?
It's a gold. It's a double eagle. It's a $20 double eagle gold coin. They're about an ounce in gold.
Okay, do you love that
Think
coin?
about gold's almost up to what, $2,000 now, 3,000. I don't know what is gold selling for now, but anyhow, yeah, they would melt this coin.
Echo, what is gold selling for today per ounce?
It was in 1900, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Echo, how much is gold worth today? $1,324.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
it's closer to 1,900.
No, that's 1,300.
No, it was around 1,900 a couple days ago when I looked at just.
Yeah, that's what I
Well, you
saw on
better start
TV.
selling your gold fast.
Yeah.
Unless you're buying it from that guy on Fox that sells
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah, yeah,
Gold coins.
yeah. How phony is that? How phony is Tom Selleck trying to sell you reverse mortgages?
Reverse mortgage.
Well, that's,
Yeah.
Well,
And
well, they don't tell you the reverse mortgage. You get all this money, but you turn over the property that you own to the bank.
yeah, you no longer have the house.
Yeah, and they eventually, when you die, they sell it, but your heirs don't get it. Now, if you have no heirs like Marjorie and I, maybe it might be worth it, but they're not paying you enough percentage of what that property is worth
That's right.
to make it worth your while. So, anyway, lots of different ways to make money, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, the coin that I have that's graded now, they have a coin very similar to it with the same grade. This company online, Money Metals, is willing to pay $22,500 for the coin. It's for the same.
So that guy that was willing to pay you 20 was getting it cheap.
Yeah, well, but he's in business. I understood that. I just wanted to see what it was worth. My coin collections are insured.
I'll tell you, if you ever
I
have
pay money every year to insure money.
if you ever have stuff you want to sell,
Yeah.
pawn up. Do not go to Pawn Stars.
Yeah, no shit. I think they're out of business.
No, they're not.
No?
Oh no, they're still in business, but you don't go there because they're going to get you down by about I don't know, a third less than you should get.
Depends on how bad you need the money and how much they're willing to pay you for it.
Well, if you're sick and tired of having this thing around your house and you want to get rid of it, and they're willing to pay you for it, and
I don't. Yeah, the $20,000 coin I don't keep at home.
but
I keep it
then they
in
bring
a
in people on that show. Do you ever watch Pawn Stars?
Yeah.
They bring in people on that show to come in and say, "Well, I don't know how much this would be worth. Let me bring in an expert."
Right.
And they bring in the expert, and he gives a price.
Yep.
How do we know these guys aren't in league with Pawn Stars
Yep.
to
I've always
value
wondered
this thing at less than it's really worth?
I've always wondered that.
Yeah. So
Gold is at 2,900
Yes.
and change.
Yes.
2,900.
29.55, 29.47, 29.33.
It's gone up quite a bit in
There
the
you go.
past couple of years. I think it's gone up $1,000.
And again,
Per ounce.
Echo, how much is gold per ounce today? $2,945. Yeah.
That's what Kevin said. Yeah.
33.47 is what it's in, yeah.
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 It dipped
there
down
somewhere.
around May. A couple of times it dipped down, but it's that's.
Yeah, I have a couple like 1 ounce gold bars, and that's what I would get.
I remember when I was
somewhere
growing up and I was a kid,
somewhere around that.
gold was never worth more than $36 an ounce.
Right.
It
Used
was,
to be,
it was
yeah.
always $36 an ounce. This,
I just had a gold crown replaced that I had put in my mouth 25 years ago. The dentist gave me the gold and said, go ahead and sell it. I went to a gold store and they gave me, $17 for it. I probably paid $1,000 for the crown.
wow. Wow. So he gave you the gold back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He replaced it with another crown because it had worn out. Crowns don't last
Well, how many
forever.
times do they pull a crown out? And the dentist never gives you the crown. They don't say,
well,
here,
this one
take it
was
home.
gold.
What?
I don't know. Maybe most dentists don't.
They offered.
Yeah.
I never had a dentist offered. Never. Not once.
Probably because it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Probably.
not.
Or they can just deduct it off the bill.
I would have gave it to some homeless guy if I knew they were only going to give me $17 for the thing that cost me $1,000 to have it installed.
Yeah, well, I had a girlfriend who worked at a place that made crowns and things like that. You know how much the crown they put in your mouth is worth? Half of what you're paying for it. The dentist
I'm sure.
ups the
Solid.
price by 100%. Anyway,
Because solid gold is soft. It couldn't last in your mouth.
yeah.
That's right. They got to.
Anyway, thank you, Jeff, for being here tonight. We really appreciate it. Charlie, good having you here. Alan, wonderful to have you here. And Kevin, always a very decent surprise when you're here. Everybody, give a big wave goodbye, and I'll give a big wave goodbye at you, okay? There they go, ladies and gentlemen. That's our citizen panel for tonight. There's a new one getting together right after we're through here with our good friend Amy Manuel, and she's going to be doing it on Skype at GabNet Live. In the meantime, I'll see you again tomorrow night, same time, same station in life. In the meantime, as always, if you see her, you know what to do. Tell her I love her, okay? Bye-bye, everybody.